All right, people, it's time. We're doing patch notes analysis here. This is a blind run at it. I'm looking at it at the same time as you guys. Hera's Odyssey. Hera is not in the game yet, I've learned. I think they said 2 weeks away from actually getting Hera in the game, something like that. 2 months, who knows at this point. But yeah, here we are, 5.17 patch notes. We got Cyber Thanatos. He looks pretty cool, I'll be honest. As far as cyber skins go, I get bored with them reusing the same concepts over and over. Like Cyber and like Cosmic. Like, I'm just kind of tired of this kind of stuff. Like, it looks nice and they're doing it well. It's just like, you know, it just seems so cheap and easy for them to do that I'm just not that impressed or excited for skins like these, you know? But at the same time, they're cool and, you know, for the most part, we're going to use them. So, all right, fine. They got me. But yeah, so the Thanatos one looks very good. Anubis looks nice. Pixel Chaos Discordia. I actually thought this was Bologna, I'll be honest. I was like 100% sure this was Bologna when I first opened this. I was like, why is she getting another skin? But yeah, so another kind of like pixel skin. Like I said, a lot of the same kind of concepts rehashed over and over again. Another pixel skin, sure. It's just kind of like the Cyber ones. But yeah, there we are. It looks pretty nice though, and I'm sure it's got nice effects and everything. This is the true winner. General Nocerus, or Nocerus, Kumbhakarna. Nocerus, though, because he's got a horn instead of a nose now, you know what I'm saying? So, beautiful. All of a sudden, Kumbhakarna just transformed into a rhino. My man is a rhino now, and he looks sick. It also makes a lot of sense because he kind of lunges at you the same way, you know, a rhino would and hits you with the big fling into the air that he could easily use by spiking you with that horn. Although, you know, it would impale you and not throw you up into the air. But, yeah, cool. Not really going to go over the Odyssey itself that much, but alright, I'll do it. This year's Odyssey begins in 5.17 and will span over 7 updates. Wow. Join Hera as she embarks upon a grand Odyssey to rally the Pantheons against a threat great enough to destroy them all. So they're making like a big kind of lore behind this one, as they like to do. And players can purchase Odyssey items and complete event quests to gain Odyssey levels to move them closer to obtaining a Tier 5 Ares skin as the ultimate Odyssey reward. Oh wow, so they've already got this all mapped out and have already decided on the Tier 5 skin for the Odyssey this time around so early on. So they're really just trying to kick things off from the get-go here. I guess they just figured this is a better way to do it, to get more revenue out of it, to get more people interested from the start. Odyssey items, goddamn. Odyssey items will be discounted during the first update they release, so act quick to save gems. So that's another thing. They can get you. They can get you. Odyssey points and Odyssey levels, get Odyssey level by and blah blah blah, you know, and all the Odyssey, Odyssey. Bonus item, cutesy Hera avatar, and Hera's Odyssey loading skin. Project Olympus, they're doing something for consoles. B or circle buttons will now exit menus as long as those buttons have no other function on those menus. Cool. B never exited a menu on console before. I would have been livid over that. All platforms now have video links to preview any god abilities. All chests will now list all of their contents. So they've done a lot of things, you know, just quality of life changes for consoles, and they called it something fancy like Project Olympus, so you'd think it was something really cool. Awesome chest. New addition to the awesome chest. There's Geek Beak Thoth, which is a really cool skin. That's nice. And the Pup Patrol Cerberus. That's a really awesome chest. Ha ha ha. But no, really, it is. That's a very good. That's some nice stuff. New additions to the Godlike chest. Madam Blade Circuit, Beach Wave Aphrodite. Blah blah blah. Very nice. Good, good, good. Design, they fixed the issue where where is the fix for the Bull Demon where he is swinging on you endlessly and never using the fucking AoE strike that he's supposed to do? They just gave up. They're just like, yeah, you know what, that's his design now. We don't give a shit. Look at this, you can be knocked up out of the assault map. They changed that, but the Bull Demon doesn't get his knock up back. I thought they at least semi cared about Joust. I understand not giving a shit about Duel, but Joust, I thought that they at least had like an ounce of care for. But you know what? Maybe that's just how they wanted it. The Bull Demon, they just changed it and didn't tell anybody. And now here we are. Alright, UI. Players can no longer spam another player with custom match invites. They're now limited to 2 invites per 30 seconds. That's nice. I didn't know you could do that in the first place. It sounds very annoying. Spectator. Fix a series of issues where certain animations could crash Spectator. Alright, so spectator changes. Nice. Spectators looking a little bit better, you guys. Spectators will now go to the end of the match lobby properly, even if the game ends early and surrender. Cool. Console, they fixed issues as well. Items. Here it comes, guys. The hype. Oni Hunter's Garb. This item no longer counts as an aura item. So rip Ares. Alright, so it has the exact same stats and the exact same passive and everything. It just doesn't count as an aura item anymore. I'll be 110% honest with you. I completely forget what Oni Hunter's Garb does. I kind of wish they gave us the passive there to show us why it counted as an aura item in the first place. Somebody in my chat's going to fill me in, and I'm going to add you. I'm going to add that in a second. Don't you worry. Oh, it was just a bug. It was just a bug, you guys. We weren't actually in the item balance yet. Minions from his ultimate will no longer remove backdoor protections. How long was that happening for? Damn. This man could just backdoor like crazy then. That's crazy. Crazy, crazy. Freya fixed an issue where her first ability was healing for 100% instead of 33%. I will be honest with you guys, I thought that was just a feature at this point. I was just like, well, that's Freya. Huh. Cool. God heals her entire health bar. And yeah, great. I would not be surprised if that was just by design. But here we go into the real hype. I'm sorry I got baited by the bug fix items. New item, Golden Blade. Golden Bow is back in the form of a Golden Blade now. Time has come for a legendary item in Smite's history to return. Golden Blow, blah, blah, blah. Golden Blow, got it. Golden Bow was loved. Yes, it was. After much deliberation, community feedback, the Smite design teams decided to bring Golden Bow's effect worthy of during your basic attacks into AoE is fun and interesting. Many players of Smite voice that they would. Yes, it was an amazing item. If you guys missed out on Golden Bow in general, if you're newer to the game, yeah, just as it says, Golden Bow was an item that allowed you to have AoE damage off of your basic attacks, both for ranged and melee gods, and it also had crit on it. And that would be a little bit weird because you can like full clear just if you get a crit off of the item. And that was a little bit messy. It shouldn't have really been that way. I don't know why it ever had crit on it in the first place. But yeah, it also worked for both melee and ranged gods. But now they've changed it. New tweaks from the old design. First, we limited to our Katana items tree. It was only for melee physical classes. So now it can only be built by melee physicals. It is no longer available for ranged gods, which is great. Because ADCs full clearing waves, like an Apollo abusing the shit. I used to abuse the living shit out of that item with Apollo. Apollo passive plus Golden Bow, he would full clear at level 3 in seconds. This item tree can often make, without using his one, item tree can often make items work that would break the game in other spots. So yeah, I think this is one of the smart things Smite has done design-wise, balance-wise, is making sure that they actually have things limited to melee only. It's a good idea, and you know, I think it helps a lot with overall balance for the game, so props to them for at least realizing that. Item tree can often make items, blah, blah, blah. We also decided to remove the critical strike % chance from the item. As I said, they got rid of that. It never really should have been there in the first place. The item already had a very unique passive that didn't really make sense to, you know, just kind of throw crit in there along with it. Now, we hope that blah, blah, blah. Thus, we have the Golden Blade. New item only available to the warrior, assassins and warrior classes, or you know, anybody that's melee and physical. Upgrades from 1000-fold blade. It's 2200 gold. It's 30 physical power, 15% attack speed. So that's pretty nice. 15% attack speed, 10% movement speed on it as well. So it kept the movement speed that it had. And it's got now all basic attacks will also hit enemies with a 15 or within a 15-foot radius, a 15-unit radius, my bad, unit radius for 50% of the damage to gods and 75% to minions and jungle camps. So helps tremendously with the clear. Does 75% of your basics to all surrounding minions and 50% to gods. Very helpful for trying to bully a lane and also just trying to clear for gods like Arachne, Mercury. Pretty much any physical melee god, you know, all of them are going to be benefited by this, and I would not be surprised to see like about 80% of them, about, or possibly even more, using this item now in their key or in their core builds. Even like someone like Osiris is disastrous with Golden Bow. Anybody that already dominated lanes can now just further dominate lanes. But the good thing about it is that it really does up the viability of gods like Mercury and Arachne, who were so strong in Duel in the 1v1 aspect, but just failed miserably in terms of trying to lane properly. So very excited for the return of Merc as a result of this. He's still not going to be one of the top gods by any means, but he might have more potential overall. And Arachne as well. Arachne's got insane 1v1 potential, but was terrible in lane and at like just jungling in general, ironically, as a jungler. And so, yeah, we're going to see a lot more potential go here for these gods and a lot of the assassins that struggled in general. Golden Bow Thor, who knows? Heartseeker. In order to make room for Golden Blade in the Katana tree, we need to relocate an item. So Heartseeker has seen dwindling usage with the redesign of the Crusher. I didn't even know Heartseeker was in the Katana tree, and it's often difficult to place in builds. Blah blah blah. The item has been redesigned and icon has changed. Moved to Hydra's tree now. Can now be bought. Oh yeah, Heartseeker used to look like a blade. Now it's like a spear. Makes more sense because it's a heart-seeking spear that you throw, right? All right, so cool. Move to Hydra's tree can now be bought by all 3 physical power classes. Upgrades from Charged Morningstar. 23. Oh, so all 3 power classes means that it's not melee only. 2,300 gold, 1,100 upgrade from tier 2. It's 30 physical power. It's 10 Fizz Pen, 200 mana, plus 7 MP5. And let's see if the passive is going to make or break this item as a dual item. You know, it's already not much power. It's only a little bit of pen. Let's see if it's a relevant passive for dual. Passive, every successful basic attack gives you 1 stack. At 5 stacks, your next ability deals bonus damage equal to 80% of your physical power to the first enemy god hit and restores 10% of your max mana. So 5 autos, and then your next abilities deal on 80% of your fizz power. You know, it actually could work reasonably well with gods like Thor and stuff, you know, like burst assassins, even like a Nshadow or something, you know, where it's just hard to get the 5 autos, you know, because you're not autoing that much at all with gods like Thor in the first place. So the restoring 10% of your max mana is very helpful for early game, and the fact that this item is like pretty early game focused with the fact that it doesn't have that much power or pen, you don't really want it in your late game build for the most part, but might still be able to be a decent bridge item. So yeah, might have viability. It's not going to be anything like a Golden Blade, Golden Bow, but it's going to have like some niche viability, I'd say. Ethereal Staff, cost reduced from 2,700 to 2,600. This item was almost never viable in Duel, almost never picked up. Increased health percent stolen on passive ability from 4% to 5%. So big buff for this item. Just 100 gold less, and it's going to give you 5% more health steal. So hopefully that'll make it a little bit more viable. You know, you'd like to have something that counters health, because so many times in Duel you'll run into gods that just stack a ton of health, and you really don't have that much that helps out against that. You had the what was it called? The old book that still tries to do that, but just doesn't really work out as well. God damn it, what is it called? Book of, not Thoth. God damn it. But yeah, so they're trying something here. Obviously not at all trying it for Duel, but yeah, hopefully it'll give it a little bit more. I still don't think it'll be picked up much. Moving on. Athena. God balance changed for Athena. Now property benefits from lifesteal at 33%. Okay, cool. So she'll be a little bit more, she'll have a little bit more potency on her reach auto with the Bancrofts now. And, you know, Bancrofts, it's kind of weird that they even thought to do this in general, because who's building lifesteal on Athena outside of Duel or Joust? Or I guess maybe sometimes you have people building that way in like Assault or something, but Conquest, you know, you're really never going to see a lifesteal on her, so I'm surprised anyone ever even realized this. But yeah, so she got 33%. The regular lifesteal that it should give you off of an enhanced auto that it is. Preemptive Strike, increased cool... No. Wait, what the fuck? It says increased cooldown, but they actually decreased the cooldown. Beautiful. I guess it was just a typo. Decreased cooldown from 15, 14, 13 to... Oh, I see what they mean. Those bastards. It doesn't go down to 11 anymore. That's actually terrible for her. That's rough. So she's not going to have access to her 1 as often on the battlefield of the gods. That's rough because she really relied on having her escape up often, as well as using it as her, you know, as her only fucking entry into the fight in Duel, because you can't use her ultimate in Duel at all. So this really cripples her. She's already bad in Duel, but now she's going to be even worse because she won't be able to, you know, go in with the 1 and then, you know, keep in the fight for a little bit, get the cooldown back up, and dip out of the fight again if necessary, or chase the person again. So, you know, it actually is quite rough. It's nice to have 1 second less at level 1, but it doesn't really matter because you know, you start leveling that pretty quickly, especially because you don't have to take an ult with her. So, you know, you get her 1 finish pretty early on, and you're not going to get the old benefits that you used to. Rip Athena. That's unfortunate. I was really hoping to see a buff there. And they baited me for a second too, because of the wording. I was excited that I thought it was a typo, and then it wasn't. Rough. Cabrakan, Seismic Crush, decreased cooldown from 18 seconds, now goes down to 14. Wow, so they just said, you know what, fuck Athena, we're giving it to Cabrakan. So he's got that decreased cooldown scaling now with more of that, and that's great for him. He's going to have a little bit more viability, being able to use, almost positive the Seismic Crush is 1. Being able to use that more often to navigate the fights, both to engage on somebody, re-engage, or use it to dip. So that's nice. Kernunos, Bramble Blast, increased base damage per tick of Bramble area from 4, 8, blah, 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 to 6, 10, 14. Wow. That's quite a nice little change for him in the early game. It's going to have extra 2 points in the on each level of it. And yeah, I did not know how Kernunos was doing in Conquest, but in Duel, he's underused in my opinion. He's still a very strong god. His ult doesn't function as well as most ADC's ults do in the 1v1 setting, because it is slow and, you know, it just turns people into pigs, and it's more meant for the AoE and using that to, you know, turn a team fight, whereas in a 1v1 scenario, it's not as strong and it's more predictable and easier to dodge. But now with this, having a little bit more damage on both the enemy and the wave, he's gonna have a good time. So we'll see a little bit more use from Kernunos. Chiron, training exercises 1, increased base damage from 70 to 80, and then it goes up by 15 and that 15 to 20, and just scales better in general. So starts at 80 instead of 70 now, goes up to 300 from 270. That's great for him. He has trouble scaling to the late game in general. That's really his biggest problem, is that he's a pretty good early push god and bully type of god, but he doesn't scale that well, and a little bit more damage on this now will help out at least, you know, at least a tiny bit as he goes on. So hopefully that'll see, you know, a little bit more change for Chiron. I gotta play Chiron a bit more, man. He's fun. Freya. We're continuing to watch Freya closely as she fucking dominates everything. Northern Lights, her 1 has decreased magical power scaling from 50% to 40%. That's nice. Still not nearly enough, other than the fact that they changed her auto, giving her 100% lifesteal back down to 30%. Okay, good. I'm glad. And they gave her a 10% reduction in magical power scaling on this one. Okay, very nice. Unfortunately, unless she dominates Conquest as hard as she is Duel, there's no way we're going to see her get balanced to a state where she'll ever be balanced in Duel. And she's always really going to be a front runner in Duel, but just by nature, she's, you know, she's a magical auto attack based god that scales ridiculously well, has a hard time in Conquest because she's so easily picked off and focused down, and then, you know, you bring that kind of a god into a 1v1 setting, and of course the scaling and all the benefits that she has that, you know, aren't related, or, you know, that make up for the fact that she's so easily hunted down, are going to shine in Duel in a 1v1 setting. So that's the thing about Freya. Now Ratatoskr, last but not least, the little guy himself, through the cosmos, cooldown increase from 90 seconds to 110. Oh wow. Did not know this god was performing well at all, and he will continue to not perform well in Duel. This god is pretty shitty in Duel and pretty lackluster in general. He has some niche opportunities where, you know, he can really lock down certain gods like a Freya, who don't really have great escapes, but man, if, you know, someone like Freya, a higher tier god, can just turn around and focus back on him. Like, you would think like someone like Poseidon, you know, doesn't have the greatest escape, is going to be able to get focused down by Ratatosker in the early. Maybe he'll have snowball potential, but the problem is he doesn't have enough damage to output once those types of gods like a Freya or a Poseidon, or even like a Baron's Samedi or whatever, you know, turns the tide and just decides to focus back on him and turn the fight. He just doesn't have the stuff when it comes down to that, you know, full-on engagement. So other than, you know, kind of snowball potential, he's missing a lot there. So now the fact that he doesn't have his ult up often means that he can't chase you down when he needs to finish you off from an engagement after he's gotten the upper hand, and the fact that he can't use it to escape as much or to engage from the jungle to, you know, start something off. That's pretty rough. It'll go down to 90 seconds, but only at max rank, and that'll be, you know, take a little while for him. So a god that already wasn't very good in Duel, unfortunately, gets hit. So overall, really not a great Duel patch, you know? A lot of the time, none of these are ever targeted at Duel god changes or item changes. The only thing is Golden Bow. Like, Golden Bow is carrying the shit out of this patch, or Golden Blade as it is now called. They gotta start calling it that somehow. But yeah, Golden Blade is going to carry the shit out of this patch, making a lot of the assassin gods that you, or even the warriors that you didn't see much of before, or ones that were just crippled by the removal of this item, like Mercury and Arachne, you're going to see them back in the spotlight a little bit more, still not as front runners by any means, but as more viable gods. So while gods like Athena and Ratatosker got hit, unfortunately, at least they did reduce a little bit of the scaling for Freya, made it so that her lifesteal wasn't as disgusting as it was, gave her Bracken a little bit, gave Kernos a little bit, although Kernos is already pretty good. Yeah, I'm saying we're riding on the back of this Golden Blade at the end of the day, and we got a Rhino to look forward to. Love you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Sorry again that there couldn't be a cam on this one. Holy shit, I had in queue up the entire time, and nobody told me. Nobody. Rob edited out. Rob's a good editor. He'll know what to do. Love you guys. Thanks so much for watching.